this is Caitlin Pimentel. I am with David Prescott. He is the South County Coast Keeper with Save the Bay, and we are at the, I don't know if you can see it, we are at the Frosty Drew Nature Center in '𝙪𝙚 Park in Charlestown. I remembered all that. And David here is an expert in all things rain gardens and helping save our environment along the coast. So David, we're so excited for you to take it away and share us all the information. So David, you are here at this amazing rain garden that you built last fall, right? And tell us a little bit about this and why it's so important.
Sure. This is actually one of 6 rain gardens that we have on in the town of Charlestown as part of a Environmental Protection Agency, an EPA grant with the town of Charlestown and several other partners. And this rain garden is here as a demonstration so that others can see it and say, hey, this might be something great I can do at my own home. So you're probably asking what a rain garden is. So a rain garden is a little bit different than the vegetable garden or the flower garden that you may have at home. And the first thing you'll notice by looking at this is that it has a little bit of a depression or a little belly in here. And the purpose for this rain garden is to do exactly what it says. It's to basically capture direct rain. So in this case, we're taking the downspout from the roof here. Normally that downspout would come over to this hard, impervious pavement right here and basically run off into the street. Instead, we're diverting it here into the rain garden to allow that water to basically be able to drain or infiltrate back into the ground naturally. And the great thing about this is that these are very easy. They are very low maintenance, and one of the reasons why they're low maintenance is after you build it, all of the plants that we plant in this area here are all native, meaning that they live here, meaning that they survive very well in our climate, meaning that they can deal with drought conditions, flooding conditions, and survive very well without any little to no maintenance whatsoever.
Wow.
And in this case, we have a series of different types of perennials and bushes as well as grasses in there that all help to allow that water to run off that rainwater that may be carrying pollutants with it as well, and to allow it again to basically naturally filter back into the ground.
Wow. So this is, and you can kind of see here like the little, like the dip in where, so after the water comes down the spout or off the roof, it kind of, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's like a little dip where the water actually like forms this little,
You can stand down there. So
yeah, this is great. Yeah, I think that's fantastic. That's so awesome. And so you mentioned before, David, that a lot of these plants, you specifically put these plants because they're native to the thing. So do you help like your clients like figure out what plants to
we can, but not like there's some really good resources online when you can actually figure that out. So the URI has a coastal plant guide.
Wow.
You can basically plug in different features of what you're looking for, like plants that love the sun, that basically will thrive, but will thrive in wet conditions there. So they have an online coastal plant guide that will actually help select out some of the plants that they can actually use. Because again, we don't want to dictate what you should put in here. We want something to put anything. You can put anything that's native in here.
Wow.
But so that's really the main point, is to use these local native plants that do really well in this area here. And again, these plants are available locally. So you can go to your local nursery or whatnot and look specifically for the plants that would do well, native plants that would actually do well in these gardens here.
Wow. So if someone's looking at this and they're like, oh yeah, I have a ton of runoff, it creates just a nightmare of like flooding in my yard, they could hire someone like yourself to come in, kind of assess the situation, and then create like a scenario where it's benefiting, you're actually putting the rain to use and
Absolutely.
Not just like having it be like.
And the great thing is, depending upon the size, it can be done in lots of different ways. Yes, you can always hire a professional to look into that, whether it's a landscape architect or a landscaping company. But it's also easy enough for you to do it on your own if you have enough of a green thumb to be able to do a little bit of digging and a little bit of planting.
Yeah, no, and you were talking about earlier, and we'll talk about this more on the podcast, a little plug for the podcast, but you were mentioning earlier that the bigger one that you have at 𝙪𝙚 Park, with the storm drain that it actually like captures a lot of, it could capture a lot of like crud and just trash and debris we don't want in the water.
Absolutely. So some of these smaller ones that are attached to a building that have a downspout where the water is actually running off the downspout. We also have other locations that are helping to deal with the flooding problem around parking lots. And one of the other locations that's right around the corner here is a much larger rain garden. And the problem with that one initially was the fact that there was so much runoff that it would flood this entire area there, and it basically took forever for it to go down the storm drain. So instead, we created a basin that not only allows the water to infiltrate back into the ground, not just into the storm drain, but also to take pollutants. So anything from oil and gas from your cars, from cigarette butts to other pints of trash. So before that actually runs down that drain, it's actually captured by the rain garden, so it doesn't have a negative impact somewhere else.
Oh, this is so awesome, David. Like, we really appreciate you so much just kind of explaining all of these things. It's so fascinating, and we're just so excited and grateful for this. And what I'll do too is how can people, for now, between now and the podcast, how can people get in touch with you or reach out to you?
The best thing to do is check out online. We have a publication called Bay Friendly Living. So if you go to Save the Bay and just Google Bay Friendly Living, there's a great little booklet in there, a little PDF that you can look into with a lot of different links and whatnot that talks all about all these environmental issues, and it talks about rain gardens, talks about scooping the poop. I mean, when we got here, there was unfortunately dog poop sitting right in the rain garden, which is not what we want to see.
Not what we want.
But, you know, again, that's something that can have a really negative impact on our local waters. So there's a lot of really great information in there. That's the best way to start off, and then obviously you can, from there you can get in contact with us further if you need more information. But there's a lot of really great links to at least start thinking about if this is something that you would want to do in your own area.
This is incredible. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, David. We really appreciate it. We're so excited to be chatting with you on the podcast. And thank you guys so much for tuning in.